Hey, I want to take just a second to talk about my AR setup, right? Because some of you have been following me for a while, follow me on Instagram. You've seen the setup before. This isn't anything new. We're running LPVO, Streamlight, a Radian lower with a custom upper that is kind of tuned to the gills. Nothing too crazy on it. Kinda. I mean, it's pretty cool, right? But no like IR night vision, nothing like that, right? But one thing that I couldn't quite figure out was the trigger. Like we were like, okay, this thing's supposed to be able to shoot sub MOA, but I always kind of felt like the trigger was getting in my way from being able to fully experience the gun. We tried out the Timney like Premier Daniel Horner 2-stage trigger. It was like pretty crazy. I'm not going to give out numbers here because YouTube's a little funny about that, but this thing was like pretty nuts, right? This one is also pretty nuts, but it's a lot simpler. In fact, if you didn't get the DH3 but you were thinking of it, I actually really recommend this. Maybe not for like self-defense and law enforcement, military guys or whatever. Well, military, they're not looking at this. They're getting different stuff, right? But for like, if you want a like crazy good trigger, the AR Pro is pretty sick. And I'll tell you a little bit about it, right? Actually, you have to go on the website and kind of like learn like the specs. But this is pretty sweet. I'll kind of demonstrate. Gun is clear. We cleared it a while ago. Gun is off safe. Gun is pointed down range. And we just put a little bit of pressure here, and then we apply firm pressure to the rear. Boom. And then reset right there. Boom. So it's a very short reset, very short pull, and the trigger gets out of your way. So if you are interested in shooting groups, if you're interested in shooting long-range precision, if you look at some of these PRS, like your crazy bolt guns, it's not as insane as those, because those, you breathe on them funny. Boop. But with this one, it's getting there. And it's at a point that I'm comfortable with it. It's at a point where I would not be scared to give it to somebody who is newer to shooting. But you would definitely prepare them, be like, hey, listen, this isn't, don't play with this. I'd be curious to try Timney's, I forget what they call it, but it's kind of like their more everyday non-competition version of their AR trigger, because I think it's a little bit more, the overall weights on it are more suitable for a home defense situation, or even guys in maybe law enforcement who are able to do this. So this cool thing is, I love this thing because this is called the Century Strap. It's by the guys from Neomag. If you've seen a Neomag video from me before, basically you just grab it and the magnet moves out the way, and then you can just swim in. It's ready to go. And then you, well, just take this thing to one. Let's kind of get a little bit closer on that. Try to get it out the shadows. A little bit of pressure. Reset is here. Done. Anyways, it's supposed to be a quick review. Nothing too crazy, nothing too substantial. I didn't put like 10,000 rounds down the trigger. It is a cassette style, for those who want to know, where you just pretty much drop it in and move. You got to move your safety selector and your grip and all that. But that's pretty much it. Very simple process. It's got set screws in there where you move the springs out the way and you screw it down, and it kind of gives you some stability in there, and it helps your trigger pins. People kind of wonder about trigger pins sometimes. These pins have a tendency to walk if you don't have enough pressure coming down from the trigger group. And I would say the biggest thing you have to worry about with this trigger, so I've been told, is if something in the trigger breaks, you're not really able to go in and kind of see it because it's all in one cassette. I've got the Timney DH3 at home. I'll probably just show you an image of it like on screen right now, probably about like right here, to kind of give you an idea of what it actually looks like. And so gun is clear. And I mentioned some screws. You basically put a little Allen wrench into these area here and here where you see the little holes, and you tighten it down, and it works. That process is a little bit weird because you have to like push the springs to the side to get in there, but once you do, it's good. It's good. So what say you? Are you interested in upgrading the trigger in your AR, or do you feel like that's not smart? Would you pick the competition trigger, or would you really rather prefer something with a bit more weight behind it, which would kind of give you a little bit more forgiveness if you got on the trigger too soon and you were maybe a little nervous? That's a consideration for sure. All right, guys. Peace.